So remember that they are changing my voice. So remember that they are changing my voice. Now, when we ask ourselves, right, what is the moral of the parable that I gave you off the top of my head, basically? I did some thinking before, but I kind of went from the top of my head about the return of the bridegroom, right? The romantic injustice that occurs. The Bible, in like a nutshell, is about romantic injustice, right? When they talk about idolatry, they say prostituting themselves to other gods, right? Being compared to a woman, right? Hosea is even told to marry a promiscuous woman to help send the message to the Jews that they're messing up, right? In that context. And of course, nobody's supposed to try to tell me who to date, obviously. Well, to understand it, let's look at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? In Genesis, where angels came and blinded them, figuratively speaking, and eventually destruction was brought as a result of what they did. So was it because they were, LGBT, gay, whatever? Well, yes and no, right? Yes, because according to the Bible, that kind of thinking, that kind of way of life, those kind of relationships and marriages and sexual behavior, is a sin, right? Everyone knows that. Okay, no offense to the LGBT community, this is a great example here. It was because they're sexually immoral, right? Because they were idolaters that it happened. And that just happened to be the form. Okay? Every marriage on this planet, but my parents, is basically invalid. It may be legally valid. Socially speaking, other people might accept it, but it's invalid. All the relationships but my parents are basically invalid relationships because they're not in the divine order. But my parents are blameless as they brought me into this world, and God chose them as sacred vessels to bring me into this world. And my dad has his heritage, and my mom has a certain mentality that allowed her to marry my father during a very controversial time for, a biracial couple to get married in a very controversial place. So when we look at this thing, right, in a nutshell, these erotic desire cultures of the world, like, Psyche and Eros, right? Zeus, who in his form Dionysus deals in ritual madness and confuses people, uses psychology, right, to abuse people, right? Dionysus, Dios, a young Zeus. And Mount Nisus is one theory as to where his name comes from, but it's certainly about a young Zeus. And an old Zeus is the rape by deception deity, the main rape deity of all mythology. Zeus just rape, change form, rape, deception, changes into a swan, changes into this, into that, right? An eagle carries away Ganymede. He's changing into animals, right? Animalistic, kind of barbaric, mark of the beast, rape. And as those people accept the boundaries of Zeus and ideas like him, which is everything outside the divine order. Okay, beast is scrambled, best A scrambled, best alpha. Which one? Right? Lead is deal scrambled. That's not a coincidence. As people accept that, they accept, being outside the boundaries of God, which allow for true romance, which allow for true love, which must be derived from justice, which is first and foremost doing God and I justice by not cheating me out of my right to lead, because I'm the point in which God's spirit comes into the earth. If people rebel against me, they're adverse to that spirit. Satan means adversary. So Psyche, where we get the word psychology. Eros, where we get the word erotic desire. Hermaphroditus, right? Hermes and Aphrodite. Hermes, a deity of guiding souls into the underworld, into the rape, cult, devil, pit, underworld. And Aphrodite, this so-called deity of love, which will be pagan love, erotic desire. That's why her child is Eros. The fruit of her tree, her family tree, her heart, is Eros, erotic desire. And no matter how you slice it, she's related to Zeus. The fruit of the tree of rape by deception is the Greco-Roman deities before, during, and after Zeus, so to speak, right? The ones who were born before, during, and after. Why? Because like father, like son, like Saturn, like Zeus, like Uranus, like Saturn, and so on and so forth. According to the Orphic Mysteries, you get chaos and anarchy. I brought this up many times in my videos. Anarchy is force, inevitability, necessity and compulsion. The idea of a pagan monster saying, this is necessary, so let's force them to do it our way, right? And the chaos is married to that. It's yoked to that. It comes with that. The accompanying chaos And chaos and confusion is what we see all throughout the world as they want to create an order out of the Greco-Roman rape cult mysteries, aka an order out of chaos. And Set, who is Zeus's Egyptian equivalent, is a deity of confusion and chaos. Confusion, use, confuse, and abuse. And Baal, the main adversary of God in the Bible, is Zeus's Middle Eastern equivalent. Jupiter and Juno, they're Roman, Jupiter is Roman equivalent, Juno, his wife, Hera's equivalent, Asherah's equivalent, as Hera, Asherah. Juju, witchcraft, Jupiter and Juno. Pretty straightforward. Watched this video several times, so I have to kind of keep going. So we see that the judgment is fair. When I made the parable off the top of my head, it was fair because Sodom and Gomorrah were spiritually destroyed, which is far worse than being flogged literally. And the parable is to be taken figuratively, but it's also be taken in terms of spirit. This is not something I'm just putting out there trying to make it so people magically behave. No. It is actually how the story ends, because even if women submit now, I'm 42 years old. You don't honor God by waiting till his son is 42 years old plus and then say, okay, maybe we'll send him a hot chick or two now because we didn't want him to look better than us and have the best, and most public and romantic marriage everywhere. We want, and it's going to be ever, we wanted it to be an English person or a French person or a celebrity or some rich person. That's rubbish. How pitiful do their marriages become when they do that? Look, we suppressed Jesus so we could try to show him up in terms of dating. I mean, that is stupid. That is a curse that they were able to bring themselves to that despicable point where they went through with that. Shame, shame, shame on them.